Hello, Leicester Square Theatre. It's good to be back. Please welcome a man who is currently off his tits on Lemsip Max. It's Richard Herring. Hello, my fine friends. Thank you very much. Thank you. Lovely to see you. Lovely to be back. Welcome to Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre podcast, though. I was hanging out with the surviving presenters of GB News. Sounds like there's been an atrocity there, but I don't think that maybe by the time this comes out, I think it's probably just by the time this comes out, that's just Mark Dolan. Mark Dolan, a man who presented Balls of Steel and thought, no, I can still go lower. He says that only woke people call it Rallastapa, so I don't know. Yeah, there's some woke people in tonight. It's lovely to be back at the Leicester Square Theatre. We've been on tour. I've been to Tunbridge Wells. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. Tonight in London, we are directly competing with the Off Menu podcast, which is at the Albert Hall. And finally, we're going to find out which is the most popular of the two podcasts. We're going to find out tonight. They've got 5,272 seats there, but we've only got 400, so it's not a fair competition. So, we need to know what percentage each of us has sold. They've sold out 100% of their tickets, so we're about 67% here. They're doing well, but you have to look at it because maybe their tickets are like really cheap or something. So that's why they're twice as expensive as ours. So that's I make it £170,000 they've made on the door tonight. Yeah, that's fine. What I discovered in looking at these statistics is that 1,270 seats at the Albert Hall are privately owned. Because you can buy a box of 12 seats at the Royal Albert Hall for £3 million. Do they let you sleep there as well? I mean, fucking hell. It's quite good. But anyway, well done to everyone who's gone to see Off Menu at the Royal Albert Hall, including my excise bollock has gone there as well. Apparently he's there. He's at the Albert Hall. Splitter. Anyway, look, it's great to be back. I'm wearing my wedding suit. I've lost a little weight. I've lost 8 kilos since I was last at the Leicester Square Theatre. I can just about fit back into my suit. We've got new chairs. Look at that. I'm worried about some of our bigger-ass guests, I have to say, of which they're little bucket seats. I don't know what you call them. And I've got a new book, brand new book. It's got Rod Hull and Emu on it. I am him. In tribute to the late Rod Hull, who I think would be in quite a lot of trouble if he lived. Just my personal view. I won't go any further than that. I don't know who someone sent me this in the post, but there was no note attached to it, so it's slightly creepy. But I've used it anyway. Thank you very much. So it's lovely to be back. Lovely to be back at Leicester Square Theatre. Look, I'm not going to mess around too much because we have a guest who is on his way north. Not during the podcast, hopefully, but straight away after. He's probably best known as Vlad the Imposter from Minder. That's why we're here tonight. Will you please welcome the amazing Steve Pemberton, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Pemberton. Vlad the Imposter. Sit down. Yeah, I'm a little ill, so Steve's avoiding. We haven't been kissing as we usually would have been backstage.
No.
We've avoided that. You'll be fine. Probably. I think I got it off Lauren Patterson, if you want to blame anyone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was.
So it's being passed along.
Yeah, it's been passed from guest to host to guest. It's like a beautiful
human centipede.
It is. It's very much like that.
Well, I'm glad I'm getting it off you.
It's not too bad. It's not very nice though. So, but we'll be fine. Do you remember? Like you were in Minder, but not. When I say not the good Minder, I think you were in the The reboot of the reboot. I might be unfair. I didn't see it. The reboot of
The
Minder.
reboot of Minder. You know what? I'd never actually seen it, so I can't remember much. I played Vlad the Imposter, who was some kind of mind reader. We filmed it in Tivoli Ballroom.
Right.
Is that Brixton somewhere south? Someone knows. Anyway, so I have allergies, and often have to take a Piriton or whatever in the summer, or other medications are available. And my character was in a feather furred coat, and I had to stroke a cat throughout the scene. And I had to have contact lenses in.
Yeah.
And white makeup on my face. So I don't have the greatest memories of Minder. But Shane Ritchie was the George Cole character. Yeah. Lovely chap.
He's nice. I like Shane. I used to gig with him. When I first started doing stand-up, he was doing stand-up on the circuit and was always very friendly. And the last time I saw him, I was sitting in Pret a Manger in the Westfield in Shepherd's Bush. It must have been at least 6.5 years ago, because I haven't been there since. And he came into Pret a Manger and he was, hey, and he was all very friendly and nice, which was nice.
He's really friendly. Yeah. He's one of the good guys.
Yeah. Is he as good as George Cole in Minder, though?
Like I say, I've not seen it, so I can't make that comparison. But I will tell you might have to cut this out. But when I was doing Benidorm with Wendy Richard,
yes.
God rest her, I was doing a crossword, and I said, "Oh, you might know this one, Pauline." Wendy kept calling her Pauline, and I said, "You might know this one." Ran the Queen Vic on EastEnders, Alfie something, 4 letters. And she just went, C-U-N-T. So not the biggest fan.
No, but, okay, fair enough.
But I liked him.
Yeah, I like him. I like him too. Good. Good to see you. Look, we had... let's talk about Inside Number 9. I think some people might be interested in this show. And the last...
Hang on, is this not the fantasy restaurant one?
No.
Are you fucking kidding me?
They should have got you.
Oh, for God's sake.
They could
have had it all planned. Oh, go on then.
They should have got you. They should have got you. They've only got Ellis James. Rubbish. That's the kind of guest I'd get. They could have had Steve Pemberton. I'd asked Ed Gamble. I was on the radio with Ed Gamble yesterday, and in the interim, I said, "How much are you paying the guests?" And he said, "I don't get involved with all that, so I don't think they pay the guests." Is what I'm saying. Even though they're £170,000 a night they're making.
Right. Wow. At least I've got a mug out of this.
Yeah, you got a mug.
So, a mug and a nasty bug from you,
and a lovely poem. Let's talk about Inside. We had Reese, the other guy. He's not as good as... He's the weak link in the Inside Number 9. And I think he made me part of your little scam. The scam of he got very angry about people suggesting that Inside Number 9 should be a Number 9 bus.
Here we go.
Got very angry. But then, he said, I think he said, "You write it, cunt." Was his... But then it appeared that you had written one on a bus, and it looked amazing. I'm hoping you're still going to do it.
Well, hope away. No, what had happened was we were asked in interviews sometimes, do people come up and give you ideas for Inside Number 9? And we'd come up with this idea that, people give you a setting rather than an idea. Yeah. They say, well, what about a bus, Number 9 bus? There you go, do that. And then, what happens, cunt? And so we talked about this, and then Reese mentioned it on your podcast, this podcast, and that was the last we thought of it. It wasn't a plant.
Okay.
And then we came up with the idea of we wanted to do an episode of Inside Number 9 that people wouldn't realise was an episode of Inside Number 9. Yeah. So it looked like another type of show. We landed on a game show, a quiz show. And we thought, wouldn't it be great if this quiz show just appeared in the schedules and people had no idea it was Inside Number 9 and until it got about 3/4 of the way through and it all went a bit weird. Now, the BBC wouldn't allow us to do that. They wouldn't have an exploding head appear at 6:30 in the afternoon without any warning whatsoever. So they said, you've got to do it as part of your series. So we thought, well, the only way of doing that is to kind of have a kind of camouflage, a fake episode that we hide the quiz show behind. And so we just went, it's got to be the bus one. The fans will love it. And the thing is, no one ever asked for a bus episode. That was just the example we gave. And so suddenly fans were like, oh, finally they're doing our episodes. Our bus episodes. You never wanted the bus episode in the first place. We started it. And so we took these photographs. We got Robin Asquith involved. Came over from Malta, where he lives, or Gozo, I should say. And we got an authentic 70s bus. We got all the costumes and everything. We even took, our second assistant director was there, and I said, will you please take some photos of us as if you're a fan taking photos from across the road? Yes. And I put it out on Twitter. One of my daughter's friends at university put it out on Twitter. So we kind of, and we shot some scenes, mock scenes for the trailer. So the trailer went out, everyone was very excited about this bus episode, and then it was pulled at the last minute for 3x3.
Yeah, which was, again, we got Lee Mack coming on as a guest in a couple of weeks, so we'll doubtless talk to him about it. But he was terrific. I mean, it's the first episode that neither of you or Reese has been in, right?
That's right, yeah.
Are you always in, you haven't always both been in all of them, but one of you's been in all.
In the first series, I said, because I was really keen when it started. In fact, I think we talked about this the last time I was on, which was
a long time ago.
A long time ago. We were
episode 11.
Yes.
I think almost exactly 11 years ago.
Okay,
Inside Number 11.
I was worried. You know, sometimes people do these kind of shows and it's like, I'm playing a different character every week. Look at me. Look what different wig I've got. Look what different voice I can do. And it can be a little bit like a sort of vanity project.
Yeah.
And I didn't want it to be the Stephen Reese vanity project. I wanted it to be focused on the stories. So I said it'd be great if I wasn't in one and you weren't in one.
Yeah.
And we tried that, and the fans didn't like it. They said, we like it when you're in it together.
Yeah.
And we were, why are we not paying ourselves? It's our show. So from that point on, we've been in every episode.
Yeah.
So it's only series 1. I dipped out of one and Reese dipped out of one.
Okay, so yeah, that's interesting. And Lee was, like, incredible. I mean, it did... You know, I think, like, if anyone was tuned in, they might think, okay, it's called 3x3, there's a little clue, and, you know, this is a bit weird for a new show just to be on instead of Inside Number 9. But it fooled quite a lot of people because Lee did a fantastic job of...
He was amazing. Yeah. So what we did is we got we'd written the script. We didn't know who the host was going to be, so we didn't know whose style to write it in. So it could have gone down the route of being quite a sort of Xander Armstrong-y, you know, that kind of smooth chappy, or it could have been quite a sarcastic comedian presenter. We weren't sure, but we'd written the structure of it, and we said to Lee, do what you want with it. You know, you've got to ask these questions, but you do it as you would want to do your own game show. Mm-hmm. And he was absolutely brilliant. And he said, right, well, the first thing is don't tell me anything about the contestants. I don't want to rehearse with them. He'd met them all backstage, but he didn't know anything that they were going to say.
Right.
And I did research chats, because I've done a few quiz shows, as have you.
Yes.
And we've never come up against each other.
Not yet.
Not yet.
House of Games, champion of champions.
Champion of champions. Are you champion of champions?
I'm a champion of champions, yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
They've asked me to do champion of champions. But then why would you put yourself in the position of walking away a loser if you're already a champion?
Because I was confident that I was.
Were you?
I'm confident I can do champion of champions. As long as Angela Barnes isn't on, I'm confident I can.
Okay. Champion of champions. Well, I'm not even champion of champions, so I'm not at your level. Anyway, so I knew in quiz shows they ring up and do a little research chat with the contestants beforehand. And that's what I did with all the actors who came in playing the contestants. And I got some personal information that we might be able to use as part of their characters. And Lee just ran with it. And he made it his own. Absolutely.
Yeah. And were people genuinely fooled by it? You know, did it upset
Yeah,
people?
some people were. Yeah, I mean, there was a headline, if you read the fucking Daily Mail online, whatever it's called. Viewers complain as contestant's head explodes in Lee Mack quiz show. That was a genuine headline. We were worried some poor old dear might sort of fall over and have a heart attack, but I don't believe that happened.
No.
No one was maimed or killed in the making of this show. Yes, some people did fall for it, and a lot of people really enjoyed playing the episode to friends, relatives, family, and saying, you know, oh, there's this new quiz show, why don't we watch it tonight? It's on iPlayer, without telling them the context of it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the whole series was terrific. I have to say, I especially enjoyed the kind of gruesome final episode, which I think you don't want to discuss them too much because you don't want to spoil people who haven't seen it yet. But there are going to be. So I thought you'd finished with the last series. So I'm delighted to hear there are going to be some at least. A ninth series. A ninth
series. We just thought inside number 9. It's got to be 9 series, and then we'll bow out. So we're filming that at the end of this year and the beginning of next year.
Okay. And have you taken my idea that I gave to Reese of doing one actually inside a giant number 9, so you're all inside a number 9?
I can neither confirm nor deny that we've taken.
Because
that
I know you love to get suggestions. Now, that's my suggestion. I'd like to ask you, there's a lot of episodes. I would like to ask you, what do you consider to be the most median average episode? What would you put right in the middle of all the episodes you've done?
Right in the middle?
Yeah, right in the middle. Well, wasn't the greatest one, but it wasn't one of the shitty ones. It was all right. Which one was that?
I think even the median one would be really good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I
think when we get right down to the tail, there's a few that are just dog shit, but definitely in the middle, they're all very good.
Now, listen, I'm assuming Reese won't listen to this because I have actually ranked. I've spent some time this week ranking, and so I do have.
Yep.
Out of 49, so can you tell me, Mr. Champion of Champions, what number I should be looking for?
I guess we're looking at about 20, right? 21? 21.
How's he fucking won Champion of Champions?
Out of 40?
20?
40. Oh, 40 how many?
49 so far.
49, I thought you said 40. Yeah, 24, 25.
49 so far. So, 10.
I'm ill.
20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow, it's...
Kidnap.
Okay.
Kidnap was an episode in Series 6. Really good. It's all split screen. Danny Mays is in it.
Oh, yes,
Daisy Haggard's in it.
Wow, that's the one in the middle. That's a great one.
Yeah, that's in my middle, though. Yeah. Obviously, the ones at the top are the ones where I'm playing all the main characters. Yeah. They're all my ideas. And the ones at the bottom are...
Well, I wasn't going to ask you which
not
was...
my ideas.
I wasn't going to ask you, but now you've got the list. You've got to tell us top and bottom as well now. Now there's a list there.
Well, no, you're going to get me in trouble because the top is the 12 Days of Christmas.
Yeah, that's my least favourite. Well, that's my bottom.
That's your bottom?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it was with that one, and Reese and I are not in that episode very much, and that's why Reese hates it, or pretends to hate it. He doesn't really hate it, but it was not so much the writing of it, it's not that funny.
No.
So I can see why you might not like it. But the reaction we got when it went out, we got letters from people saying it had really helped them come to terms with a loss they'd had. And it just really moved me and touched me what a connection that episode had made. So, yeah, I've put that top for that reason.
Yeah, it's a good episode. I'm being only slightly facetious. But, I think they are great when you're in them, but they are all good. They are all... I'm trying to think of a bad one.
Go on.
I didn't really like the Teatro dell'Arte one.
Did you not?
No, I didn't really like that one.
Wuthering Heist. You've got gasps from this audience. Thank you. Did you not even like the kind of the puns that my doctor character says when he says, we went away together, Chicago, no, she was in first class. That type of thing.
No, I'm laughing at it now, but no, I didn't like it.
Well, you're wrong, Richard. Do you want me to tell you where that comes in my list?
Let's put that.
It's 14th.
Okay.
So that's pretty good. No, I love that one. And what that one was all about really was, you know, inside Number 9, it's meant to be surprising. It's meant to shock you. And then we do so many episodes where someone's a ghost and someone's dead and you thought they were dead, but they're not dead. And then you go, right, what have we not done? What's going to really surprise people?
True.
And so we thought, let's dig into a bit of commedia dell'arte.
Yeah, you're right. They're all good. And it is, you know, when you watch we watched the Twilight Zone, like, from start to finish, pretty much. I think we didn't quite get through every single one, but we bought all the box sets, so it's still DVD time.
Yeah.
And those they basically fall into 3 categories. It's either an alien or a ghost or the devil, and that's basically the twist in everyone. And they're still really good, but there is a lot more variety and surprise. It has to be said inside Number 9. I'm delighted it's back. I think Cheese and Crackers is my favourite episode.
Yeah. Well, I love that one, and not only did again, Reese is going to be cross with me, but not only did I very fortunately win the BAFTA for that episode.
That's true.
Therefore, proving once and for all who the best performer is.
Yeah.
I got 2 other jobs off the back of that because of that wig. Someone was watching that episode and thought, oh, he looks a bit like Tony Martin, you know, the guy, the farmer who shot the burglar.
Oh, yeah.
He looks a bit like Tony Martin. We'll have him. We'll build a little Tony Martin thing. And I did that. And then I did this film last year in Melbourne where I played Robbie Williams' dad.
Yes.
And, I know. Bizarre. And it's called Better Man. It'll be out next year. And the director was told by someone else in the cast, you've got to see this guy. Watch this episode. And he put that episode on for him in the casting room. And he went, yeah, you're right. And he offered me the part.
Wow.
So that's why it's my favourite episode.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it's a great episode as well, but it's good. Anything that makes Reese unhappy makes me happy because, not that I wanted to be unhappy, it's just it's funny when he's unhappy.
He loves being a little bit grouchy.
He does.
But with that episode, very often with Inside Number 9, we don't decide how we're going to cast it.
Right.
You know, we'll read it both ways, and we've got one in the next series, and we both have a part that we want to play, and it's a 2-hander.
Right.
You know, and they're both really good parts, but we don't always know which way round we're going to cast it, and that is a perfect example. Bernie Clifton's dressing room. It would have been, I think, more natural for Reese to play the kind of funny character. He's very funny physically. He could do all of that comedy, and I would have been the one getting a little bit exasperated with him. But we decided to switch it round, and it was a very definite choice, and I won the BAFTA for it.
Rightly so. Well deserved.
I won it for both of us.
But you keep it, right? You keep it in your house. I think I should play John Burko if anyone's any I think and I'm the right height. Yeah, I think I could be that, and I think I could do it. I got close to playing, and you played this character. It wasn't in the one I got Bill Grundy. I got close. You played Bill Grundy.
Oh yes, I did.
I got close. Well, I got to say I got close. I got an audition to do Bill Grundy in the new Pistols thing, and then they didn't bother auditioning because they'd already got the actor Kevin Eldon to do it. But
of course,
I would have been. I really practiced, and I thought I can do this. I'm going to be good at being.
Yeah.
But Bill Grundy. But yeah, you've done it as well. God, what was that?
That was one of the Sky Arts urban myths,
right.
and it was just about the reaction to that show going out.
Yes.
Because not only did we recreate the interview. And it was brilliant, recreating something frame for frame. So you looked exactly what the intonation was, where he crossed his legs, and all of that. But what happened afterwards was there were so many complaints. The complaints got rerouted through the BBC switchboard, and they went to the green room. So the phone started ringing in the green room where the Sex Pistols were all sitting, and they were answering these phone calls and saying, you know, go and shove the fat end of a pineapple up your cunt or whatever, and really rude to these people. So it added to the whole atmosphere of what was it called? The something and the damned.
The Filth and the Fury.
The Filth and the Fury.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah. Oh, true. Well, look, there's lots we didn't talk about last time. I was listening to. I don't really want to talk too much about the League of Gentlemen because we've talked about it, but I was quite interested in that period. There's a little. I'm very fascinated, and I've mentioned this in the Robert Bathurst interview, which comes right before this one. I'm fascinated by Paul McCartney coming back from Hamburg and going to work in the factory he worked in, and he was offered a promotion to middle management, and the Beatles weren't doing anything for a year or so. And then John Lennon came and said, we're doing some gigs at the Cavern, do you want to come down? And he had to choose between getting a good job and a proper career and going and play at the Cavern. And that's a kind of, I don't know if have you ever seen the film Sliding Doors? It's a bit like that.
I haven't, but I know the concept.
I'd say don't watch it. It's really, really bad, but it's one of the worst films there's ever been. I would like to live in the universe where that film had never been made. I can't imagine what it'd be like. But if Paul McCartney had made that decision, it would have been very different. And what I was surprised about League of Gentlemen was there was quite a little gap between, I know you'd all been to college together at Bretton Hall, right? And I sort of assumed you all came out there, but there was a few years where you were all just trying to make it as actors individually.
Yeah, trying. I mean, God, it's very hard. I mean, the first thing that happened when I left college was I bought a copy of The Stage and looked at the back of the stage, and there was one job for touring around children's theatre in Germany, right, touring around schools. And it said, send photo and CV. And I thought, what do they mean, send photo? So I just went down to Boots, got these 3 copies of a photo of me on holiday in Tunisia with a palm tree behind me. 3, I thought, I'm going to splash out here. And I sent that. I didn't have a clue that you're meant to have some really nice glossy 10x8 picture. And I could speak German and I could drive. And so these were the 3 things: speak German, drive, and act. And I could speak German, I could drive. I didn't get the job. Right. Someone obviously dropped out or got a better job at the last minute because I remember I was in Yorkshire. We'd just left Bretton Hall. Our house not only had no central heating, it had no phone, of course. Yep. This is back in the olden days, 1989. And so I used to go and ring my mum from a phone box. And she said, oh, my God, Stephen, thank God you've rung. You got that job in Germany. And he wants you to ring him back, but he can't get in touch with you. She speaks like that. Mum.
Yeah, good.
And
I was wondering.
She said, so I've told him if you're there on Sunday at 5 o'clock at the phone box, I've given him the number. This is Flockton in West Yorkshire. So this is how I secured the job. Wow. I had to go with a big pile of 2p's and 10p's, and yeah, he phoned me and said, yeah, come over, you can drive, you can speak German, fuck whether you can act or not. And so that was my first job.
Amazing.
And then I came back and moved to London, and I went down all the temp agencies on Oxford Street. I didn't want to do bar work, and I didn't want to do restaurant work. I was more of an office body, so yeah. I got a job filing, and it was for Variety newspaper. And so because I was just making teas and delivering faxes, this tells you how long ago it is, I was delivering faxes to people's desks that had come out of the machine. And I would just drop in, I've seen that film, I'm a big fan of that. And they really liked me there, and they kept giving me more and more work. So I stayed there for about 10 years while we were developing the League of Gentlemen.
Yeah. It's amazing. Well, that's. Do you think? I've heard you in another podcast saying that you think if the 4 of you hadn't met at that college, that you're not sure any of you would have gone on to be successful necessarily.
Yeah, I do believe that. Yeah. I mean, I think maybe Mark had a bit more kind of grit about him. He had his eye on the prize. A bit more. He was a bit more organised. He wasn't going in boots, getting a picture of himself. But it was just that synchronicity of the 3 of us meeting, and then Jeremy being at Leeds Uni, and so it was. I feel blessed every day that I chose to go there.
Yeah. And, again, I don't think we talked about this last time, but the first time you went to Edinburgh, you just were self-funded and no one knew. You'd been working this show up at the Canal Cafe Theatre. I saw you at the Canal Cafe Theatre, but I think it was after you'd had some Edinburgh success. You got 3 people at your first gig.
Yep. Two of them were the stage management team. But we said, please, will you sit out front? And one of them was the man in the mirror from... I can't remember the name of the film now. Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. What's the man in the mirror with Ian Hendry? Anyway, he was Mark was very excited. He was an iconic horror actor. He'd wandered in and watched it. But we had 3 people, and the next day we had 5, and then we had 10, and then we got a review in the Scotsman, and it was pretty good. 4 stars. And from that point on, we were sold out.
I wonder if that could happen in Edinburgh now. I don't know whether it is one of those things where, like, you could go to Edinburgh, nobody know who you are at the start, and by the end, you're getting phone calls and job. You got
faxes.
You got on a last Smith and Jones as a result of that, right? Is that?
I did, yeah. Griff Rhys-Jones came to see the show, and we were beside ourselves when he came to see it, and then I got offered a sketch in a last Smith and Jones.
Yeah.
It was cut out of the programme, but never mind, I did it. I filmed it.
Griff Rhys-Jones came to my play that year, Punk's Not Dead, and there was a line in again back to the Sex Pistols. It was a play about some people going to see, some fans going to see the Sex Pistols at Finsbury Park. And Paul Putner had come dressed up in sort of Mohican and everything, and I was going, "You look pathetic, you look like a Mel Smith punk," which was our shorthand for a bad punk in a sketch show, And Griff Rhys-Jones, all he said to me is, "I'm going to tell Mel about that." And that was all. He didn't offer me any work. So.
No. We remembered an episode of Terry and June where June Whitfield was a punk. If you can find that, I think that will obliterate your Mel Smith punk.
I don't think it's fair because I've seen Not That O'Clock News since, and it isn't. Mel Smith never dressed like that. So as far as I've seen, it was a thing that me and Stu were obsessed with the idea of the Mel Smith punk. May he rest in peace.
It's a memory cheat.
It is, yeah.
We had it with the League of Gentlemen. We were watching. We were on tour and we decided to get a tour bus. We watched a lot of DVDs. We were just talking about Who Done It with John Pertwee from the 1970s. And we'd all had this memory of watching Armchair Thriller. Now, I don't know if anyone's old enough to remember Armchair Thriller. The opening titles with the shadow with the hands moving down the thing. Yeah. And we were all totally convinced there was an episode where one of the characters received a box of chocolates and they opened up the box of chocolates and ate one and it was dog shit. And someone had kidnapped a dog and sent the dog shit as chocolates. And one of us mentioned it, and then all 3 were like, yeah, I remember that. It was absolutely brilliant. Let's get the DVD and watch it. We watched it. No such thing happened. Nowhere near.
Wow. So do you think
memory cheat?
Do you think it was a different show? Or do you think it was... You kind of all made up the same idea.
No, I don't know. I just remember there was a scene with some chocolates, but they were just chocolates.
Okay.
They weren't dog shit.
Maybe they secretly were dog shit.
Maybe they changed it. Maybe it's an alternate universe.
It could be. Right, I want to talk to you. This is something else. This is quite an obscure piece of information I found out about you. You were once accused of stealing Chewits in Chorley. Wrongly accused. You claim.
Yeah.
I would like to know more about this story.
Well, I can't say too much. I've just sold the film rights to the Chewits and Chorley story.
Yeah. Okay.
But we lived on a sort of quite middle-class estate, but when you're sort of 11, 12, kids just want to go and be mischievous and they like to do knock-a-door run and that sort of thing. I hated all of that. I did it, but I really didn't like it.
Right.
I didn't enjoy it. So the idea that I would shoplift, no, I would never, ever do that. So I'd been to, I think it was R.S. McCall. I'd paid for my Chewits, walked out, was chewing one, and the man comes running out of the shop. Hey, you're not paid for them. They were probably about 4p in those days.
Yeah.
And I absolutely went, I remember going bright red. And my friend, Stephen, his dad was a policeman, so I actually got him. I said, go and tell your dad. Go and get your dad, I've been accused. And he came down and he vouched for my good character, and I got to keep the Chewits.
Wow. scarred you though a little bit, hasn't it? It's you still remember it. You still
has. But when you haven't done something and you're accused.
I had a thing where this is when I was in the sixth form, so I was maybe a bit older than you. But like I'd noted there was a tuck shop in the sixth form where you could buy sweets and stuff, and a dinner lady ran it, and she wasn't paying attention, and so I thought I would show her how bad her attention was. So I took a Twix and put it behind my back, and my plan was to go, I could have stolen that and put it back. But unfortunately, another dinner lady came up behind me and thought I was stealing it. And I was the headmaster's son. Ooh. So she was really out to get me. And years after my dad says, that dinner lady still says you stole that Twix. And I say, look, if I was stealing it, I would have definitely admit it. I've been so honest about everything. But she still thinks I stole it. I hope she's dead. I hope she's dead now. I'm going to go and smash a Twix in her grave that I've stolen. There's a job you've done that I am very envious of. Not only Bill Grundy, you've lived the life that I would love to lead. Death in Paradise. You've done the Death in Paradise.
I've done a Death in Paradise. Yeah. I was working on Wurzel Gummidge with my friend Rosie Cavaliero. Yeah. And she was talking about it, and I was saying, I don't know what to do for a holiday. Have you got any good ideas to go with the family? And she said, well, last year, we all ended up going to Guadeloupe. I got this job, took the family out. They go swimming with the turtles. You have to do a little bit of sitting on a veranda, looking guilty. And then within a week, I was offered it.
Right.
And it was Ralph Little's first episode as the detective.
I've watched every single episode of Death.
Have you?
Well, I've been in the room when they've been on.
Okay.
I put it on and I do other stuff, but I've watched every episode.
Have you ranked them?
I haven't, and I haven't wanked over them either. But if I was going to, Ralph Little would definitely be top.
Yeah, so I kind of said to my family, look, let's all... so I spent all my wages taking my family to Guadeloupe, but we had a lovely time.
It's what I like about your career is it's because you've been in things like Killing Eve as well, which is most people. I don't know how many people have Killing Eve and Death in Paradise on their CV.
I don't know the answer to that.
Has Coma been in it? I don't think so. She might have been in the
early days, maybe.
The early days could have been.
Yeah.
And it feels like that you enjoy all different types of job. So you do theatre, you do TV, but it is, you will take on a role that other people might say, oh, well, I've been in Killing Eve, I'm not going to do Death in Paradise.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because sometimes you just want to go and work with nice people that you know. So recently there's a sitcom been on called The Power of Parker. I don't know if anyone's caught that. And that had Rosie Cavaliero, Sian Gibson, Conleth Hill, and Sheila Reid. All of whom I'd worked with and all of whom had been in Inside Number 9. And so Rosie sent me this picture of them outside a door with a 9 on it. And I was like, I'm so jealous. What are you filming? 2 days later, I got offered a job in it. It wasn't a big part. And I went, it'd be nice to go and catch up with those guys.
Yeah.
So I stuck a moustache on and did it.
But is that must be also when you started out. And like you say, you're very sort of naive as a young actor as to what the business was, but knowing that you wanted to be an actor, right? Probably more than a comedian or a writer.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's sort of to reach this point where you're getting the pick of the roles and you're doing exciting theatre.
What I love is the variety.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you can be doing theatre and TV, that you can be doing drama and comedy, and most of what I've done, there's been about 2 jobs I've done. You've mentioned one of them, Minder, which I've just thought, do you know what? I've had a quiet couple of weeks, or couple of months, I should say. I've been off this. It looks quite fun. I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I didn't really care that much about it.
No. But also doing Minder is like, again, for you and I grew up, have very similar references, and the idea of just even being in an episode of Minder and saying even if it's not the original Minder, you go, I've got to do that.
I've got to do that, absolutely, yeah. I've been very, very lucky with the variety of stuff I've been doing, so long may it continue.
For sure. Let me ask you an emergency question. I've left my emergency questions book backstage.
Okay, so this is a real emergency.
I've got some up here.
Okay. Is it still all sparkling water?
I'm going to ask you, who is the most famous celebrity that you've got into a lift with that you didn't get into the lift with? It's a simple
Repeat the question.
Who's the most famous celebrity you've been in a lift with
Yeah.
that you didn't get into the lift, that you weren't with when you...
Oh, right. Okay, I get you now. We went to a party and Fiona Bruce got into the lift.
Wow, that's good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, not popular with the audience.
No, okay. Well, it's a hard job, though. You've got to say, it's a hard job she has.
I like her Antiques Roadshow version.
Yeah.
That's what she should stick to
She's
that.
a classy lady.
She is classy. She's very good. That's a good answer. If you... Because the thing with... Steve, you were on episode 11. I know exactly what questions I asked you already. They were the 4 emergency questions I had on episode 11. And now I've got like 10,000 emergency questions. Yeah,
I remember one of them.
Yes. If you managed to do it in the interim... I was thinking of a different one.
Okay.
If all the art galleries and museums in the world got together and said, we're big fans of Inside Number 9 and we would like to give you one artifact or painting or artwork from all of the museums and you could keep it, is there something you would like to have?
That's Inside Number 9 related?
No, it can be anything in the world.
Anything?
It's anything from any museum or art gallery. Is there anything you would like to own that if they were going to give it to you?
Wow. What an interesting question. I've got a reproduction in my hallway of the Great Bear, which is, the tube station, where they've replaced every line with a different theme. So actors cross with kings, cross with explorers. But I've already got a version of that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't do me that much good having the
original.
The original, not really.
It can only be worth about 250 quid, the original of that as well.
Yeah. I wouldn't be doing it for the money,
No,
Richard,
okay, fair enough.
What would I most like to... I'd quite like the Thinker.
Yeah, that's a solid choice.
It's a big chunk of stone.
It's a big chunk.
Doing the Brucey. Yeah, I think that when you're sitting, pondering, and you're writing, I think I could draw inspiration from that.
Have you got a place in your head? I don't know how big. It's pretty big, right? There's one at the...
It's going in the garden next to the trampoline.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your theatre work. I saw you being... I want to talk about Pillow Man, but I also want to talk about when you were on This Morning being interviewed by Dermot and Alison about being on that. What was that experience like?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that experience? You and Lily were interviewed by
Alison and
Dermot, who I think knew a lot. Dermot, who I've been interviewed by recently, and I think is excellent. He really researches stuff well.
Yeah.
And Alison, who I don't think had any idea who you were.
No, she didn't really. She said it's a brand new play. Well, no, it's 20 years old. It's called The Pillar Game. That's a musical from the 60s. And it finished last week. No, everything she said was pretty much wrong. And I think, did she call our show Inside 99 or something?
Inside number 10.
Inside number 10.
Which is like... is a good idea. You could move on to that next.
Yeah, well, yeah, we could. Nothing's that funny. So she's lovely.
Yeah, she is.
I'm not knocking her, and she has a lot on her plate.
Yeah.
But they'd just been doing this cooking, and Lily got very excited, so they plated all this food up for us. Anyway, they came and took a little photo, and then that photo went on Twitter, and someone went, "Oh my God, when I saw this, I thought they were doing This Morning story with Phil and Holly." Because she had blonde hair.
Right.
I looked like a shoo-in for Philip.
Yeah.
And then it's been in the papers that they are considering doing the Phil and Holly story, taken in recent events. And I'm like 6-1 second favourite.
I can see it.
Behind Michael Sheen. Nice work if you can get
I
it.
think that'd be good. You and Lily would be great. You'd be great.
Listen, I'm available.
Okay, good. Well, I'll try and write it. What was so Lily Allen? Was that her first major theatre acting role? She's done some acting before, right? She's done a couple of things.
It was her second.
Yeah. She'd done the 222. Yes, yeah, of course she had. Yeah.
So she'd had a lot of success with that. She was nominated for an Olivier Award. But this was a huge role, and it's normally done by a male actor.
Yeah.
So it was originally scheduled for 2020, and they had Aaron Taylor-Johnson penciled in to do it. Then COVID happened, everything got wiped away. And they offered it to Lily. And I was thinking, wow, that's a bit of a change. But it had a big impact on the play, because it's all about torture. It's all about these two policemen brutally interrogating this writer. And as soon as Paul Kay was in it, and he kicked her off the chair, and the audience were just like, you know, there was a massive gasp. Whereas Aaron Taylor-Johnson, he'd have just been like, fucking, what are you doing? He'd have pushed us on the floor. So it would have been very different. But yeah, Lily was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Is there any chance of that coming back? Because it sounds like it was an amazing production.
It was really successful, sold out all the shows, but no, I don't believe so. No.
I think I'd like to get Lily Allen on this, if you can give me...
she'll do it.
There's one emergency question I think I'd better not ask her, though. But... but apart from that...
Okay, the mind boggles.
Yeah, no.
Oh, she'd do it.
Yeah, she'd be good.
She's done off menu.
Yeah, has she?
Yeah. But I haven't, Richard.
Have you not?
I've done this twice.
That's true.
You know.
You should do off menu. It's good fun. I got into trouble when I did off menu, because I sort of did it slightly facetiously, and but I also it was during COVID. So, like, I was introduced... There was a special one for COVID, and they introduced it like I was a fan who'd won a competition to do it. And so I think a lot of people genuinely thought I was, and I'd misunderstood. I wanted, like, 4 and 20 blackbirds in a pie and stuff. I wanted, like... Because I've got a genie, I want, like, magical food that I can't get
why
anywhere
not?
else. And actually, Sean Clifford, I did a film with Sean Clifford, who's in Fleabag and lots of other things. And I think she genuinely thought I was a fan that had won a competition. Maybe to be in the film as well, because I wasn't a very big part. So yeah, go on and take the piss, and you'll be good. What would you... What
I'm not wasting all my ideas on this. They won't ask me.
Poppadoms or bread, which would you... If I start asking that, maybe I'll get 5,000 people in. That's what I'm thinking. So look, you're off to do you said a job that sounds very interesting about doing a sort of...
Yeah, it's a series called The Read, and it's on BBC4. I think at the moment they've got Christopher Eccleston doing a Kestrel for a Knave, and it's basically a bit like an adult Jackanory. So it's just one actor telling a book, and I'm doing... Well, maybe I shouldn't say. Should I?
I don't know. Just say it.
Say.
This isn't going to go out for ages. Everyone will keep it secret, right? I mean, I think even if there's a journalist in, this is too boring for them to write. I genuinely think Steve Pemberton is we're going to spoil this for everyone.
Okay, well, we're going on a bear hunt. No, I'm not. I'm doing a very well-regarded book, and it's written in the first person, so it'll be like an hour-long monologue. So if anyone likes looking at my face for 1 hour, thank you. One person.
They have just been looking at your face for the last hour, it has to be said.
Then that'll be on BBC4 next year.
Cool. That's very exciting. There are some other things coming up, and some of them we can talk about, some of them we can't. But some people might know what one of them is, but we can't talk about it. But the thing I'd read as well, and we did briefly talk about this backstage, but I was very surprised to read in the Daily Mirror as I was researching that when you were 25 years old in Germany, you had a heart attack, is what the Daily Mirror said.
Yes, that's what the Daily Mirror said. Well, I did have this weird thing. I did this job, as I said, touring Germany with schools, and then I came back from that, and then 2 or 3 years later, Reese did it.
Right.
And he was playing the same part that I'd played in Neighbours with Long Teeth. So if you imagine Ollie Plimsoll's writing children's theatre, that's pretty much what we did. So Neighbours with Long Teeth, the vampires live next door, and the family is saying, "You can't date a vampire, they're different from us. They have different ways." So the actor Reese was doing it with got ill, broke his leg or something, and they asked me to come back and play the dad. So I was playing Reese's dad. Anyway, while we were there, I just got ill. I just felt a tight chest. And I said, we were setting the setup, and I said to the teachers, the sort of hair lips who come around with their with the cakes, would you like some cakes? I said I wouldn't mind seeing a doctor after we've done the show. So we did 2 shows. I went to see the doctor, and they wired me up, and he said, I cannot tell you there is nothing wrong with your heart. And I said, what do you mean? They can't tell me there is nothing wrong with it? I said, he sent me to the hospital. And they said, all the readings were that I'd had a myocardial infarction, that something had happened. But they couldn't find any evidence of it. Right. And it was Christmas time. So I spent all of Christmas. Reese went back home. And I spent all of Christmas on my own in Germany, in Kassel, in a hospital bed, thinking I'd had a heart attack at 25. And I remember the vicar came round on Christmas Day. It was the bleakest Christmas day I've ever had. And the vicar came round with a present, and it was a beige towel. It was wrapped up. So I opened it, I got a beige towel.
We didn't want to waste the good presents on you. We don't think you're going to be here for much longer.
Exactly. And I remember watching Ghost in German language Ghost on the TV on Christmas Day. Anyway, eventually I said, look, I want to go back. You know, this was about the 28th, 29th of December. I said, I want to go back. I feel fine. I didn't feel anything wrong with me. And I had to sign a form saying I was releasing myself. Right. And that if anything happened to me on the aeroplane, it was my fault. So that was pretty terrifying, signing that piece of paper and getting on the aeroplane and taking off. And then your heart is just going like crazy. I got back here, went to St. Bart's in London, and they said, no, you've not had a heart attack. Don't mention it to the Daily Mirror, because they'll do a big spread where it's a big headline. But I don't know what it was. You can have flu that gives you the same symptoms, you know. So touch wood, I am going strong for now.
Good, yes. So, well, I was glad. I mean, you know, it would have been, you know, so did that make you think, oh, you know, maybe I should be careful? Did you think, oh, I didn't have it, I'm fine, I'll just carry on?
No, I did, yeah. I was pretty healthy for a while.
Yeah.
And then I went on a holiday to Thailand. Yeah. And wasn't very healthy. And first time ever I took magic mushrooms. Have you had magic mushrooms?
I've only had them once in the Glastonbury Festival. It was, it was quite something.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I mean, if stealing chewits and being accused of that made me feel uncomfortable, then being told I was taking drugs, albeit in an omelette. But I think I had this kind of, fuck it, I nearly died. I nearly died in Germany. I'm going to have this omelette with magic mushrooms, and I didn't like it.
When I had them, I was at Glastonbury, and we were at a world music stage. And nothing. I was eating them and I think, oh, is this all right? There's nothing happening. I make this little buzz like marijuana or something. I didn't think it was much. And then they were banging these drums, and then the drums became like my heartbeat. So it would have been the absolute worst thing if this happened to you. And I thought, fuck, and I really panicked because the drums were my heartbeat. And then I was taken somewhere like a bit quieter by people because I'd had way too many of these things. And so I remember being very enchanted by the candlelight on a blackboard for quite a while.
Okay.
Then I went outside and I was lying down, and it was like the sky was the sea and I was flying still above. It was quite nice. Okay. And then I looked over and then I could see the devil masturbating like... It was like a really big cock.
Really big?
And then I realised it was just someone stroking the arm of their girlfriend. But it was... but for a while, he was the devil. So all in all, 5 out of 10, I would say. But I haven't... That's the only time I've ever done any hallucinogens. And I know I wasn't very much into drugs.
No, me neither.
No.
Don't do it, kids.
Yeah, be like me and Steve. You can be cool like us. Like, I genuinely feel this, and this is like the most middle-aged old man thing you can say. I've been eating like very healthily for the last 2 months. I've been eating a lot of vegetables, and it's given me the most incredible high. And I'd like to go out to all the kids taking drugs in the street and say, just eat some vegetables. If you stop eating junk food and eat vegetables, you will feel this amazing high.
I thought you were going to say it's given me the most incredible erection.
No, it hasn't done that. I'm 56. It still takes a while to get one of those now. I mean, I miss those. I miss the days when it was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight up like an
When it was
ironing
bang,
board.
it was gone, and now
No.
it takes a lot of work to get that thing going. And there's not, I mean, it's only running on one ball as well, so, there's not much. It's a sad state of affairs. Enjoy. So I'd say to young kids, eat vegetables and make the most of your erect penises.
Absolutely.
And the fact that they could go, do you remember when they just came straight back up again, more or less?
Oh,
you could
God, yes.
You could just go... Like now, I've got to wait at least a day, don't you?
A day?
At least.
Fortnight?
Yeah. I miss those days. Look, it's been lovely to have you on. And again, it's absolutely terrific to see you. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, and this feels like a sketch by you guys. Are you ever confused for the Steve Pemberton, who is the Chief People Officer of Workhuman? Have you ever heard of this guy?
Yeah, I've heard of this guy.
Yeah.
He's quite an inspirational speaker, I believe.
I think he is, yeah. He's
so-
the Chief People Officer
Yeah.
of Workhuman. It just sounds like... It actually sounds like sort of Charlie Brooker thing.
Yes.
I'm the Chief People Officer of Workhuman.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on. Yeah, what do you know about Steve Pemberton?
Well, his photo would often appear in, when your name is Googled by somebody. and
They
you're
would send
looking
it
over
to
their
you.
shoulder.
Yeah.
And there's lots of images of weird characters, and then you get this other Steve Pemberton encroaching. And for a while, he was one of my main pictures.
Right.
So I took him out.
Yeah.
He's not at Workhuman anymore. No, I've not come across him. I think he's written a couple of books, and I think he was an orphan, and I think he's written a lot about inclusivity in the workplace and diversity. So good on him. I've done my bit here. He's done his bit in the States.
I might get him on.
Get
Would
him
you
on.
mind if I get him on and just bill him as Steve Pemberton and put your picture? Because I don't think he'll sell any tickets. But, and then I should just do that with everyone famous.
You
right?
should.
Just find. I was going to say Robin Williams. That's probably not the best. That was the people might see through that one though. Imagine.
Yeah. Well,
I've been here before, but imagine if I got him.
are there other herrings with Richard as the
Yeah, there
first?
is a Richard Herring shoe shop that we used to drive past on our way from Cheddar to somewhere between Cheddar and Stratford upon Avon. When we went on a school trip to see Shakespeare, we would drive past Richard Herring shoes.
Wow.
And everyone on the bus would sing Richard Herring shoes, Richard Herring shoes. And there are a lot of herring shoes. Yeah, so I buy some. I've got a toilet bag with herring and a sort of crest on it that's from herring shoes. So it looks like it's mine.
Yeah.
It's quite clever. So there are a couple of Richard Herrings. There's an economist called Richard J. Herring. I'm Richard K. Herring. If Dave Gorman hadn't done it already, I might try and do sort of the 26 Richard A, Richard B,
Yes.
Richard C, just find them all. There was a guy who actually, I've forgotten about this, but when I was reading my book, the day before I went in for my operation, I was just Googling, so I was looking over the shoulder of someone who was Googling me. and a dead Richard Herring came up who was doing they were doing a Just Giving sort of thing for this guy who died and had been in education.
No.
And so, like, the night before I went into this thing, I sort of said to everyone, hey, look, and they were raising money to send kids in, deprived areas to college. And I sort of said, just a bit of fun, I said, hey, look, there's another Richard Herring, and why don't we try and raise some money for this other Richard Herring's charity?
Yeah.
And everyone, put in the money, and they kind of they hit their target. It was, so the Richard
Good.
Herrings, we stick together, the Richard Herrings. I don't
Yeah.
know, you and Steve Pemberton don't seem that close, but me, especially if one passes, if you set up a Google search for yourself, every now and again someone passes with your name.
There is a jazz drummer
Is that-
and an estate agent in America, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. You've really looked into this.
They
Dave,
are.
I don't think either of us are going to challenge Dave. Dave Gorman did well. Dave Gorman's a good name to do it with because there are enough Dave Gormans, but it was a good idea.
Have you done the thing where you send some spit off and you get your DNA?
I have done, yeah.
So what's your ethnicity?
I am so British that it's British and Irish. I think there's a lot. A lot from the northeast, which is I think is I think it's pretty Viking in there.
Yeah, I got about 70% Scandinavian.
Did you? Yeah.
And I got a little bit of Italian, like 5%.
I got a little bit of Italian.
That's the stealing the Chewits bit. That's not me. And the rest, Celtic, but loads of Scandi stuff.
Yeah.
You look a bit like a Viking tonight.
Well, I do. You know, I've grown the hair a little bit. I haven't had my hair cut all year. Give it a try, Steve. See what happens.
Okay.
Look, Steve, as always, thank you for coming. If you'll come back every 11 years on the dot, I'll book you in for October. Do you think you're going to make another 11 years? I'm not sure I'm going to make another 11 years.
I'm not sure about that.
I'm not sure. Be nice. If we're both dead, if one of us is dead, the corpse of that dead person and the real person, if both of us are dead, two corpses.
I'll just send in a beige towel. Lay it on the chair.
The lemsips are kicking in. It's like it's worse than magic mushrooms. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up. The incredible Steve Pemberton. Thank you very much. Hang around for next week. We're doing a book club. Thank you. You have been listening to Leicester with me, Richard Herring, and my guest, Steve Pemberton. It's scant regard on the old piano there, playing this music. I'm indebted to my producer, Ben Walker. Thank you also to Chris Evans, not that one, and Ben Evans, not that one, and all of the crazy team who put together this lovely show. Thank you to everyone at the Leicester Square Theatre. Lovely to be back. This is the Sky Potato Fuzz and Go Faster Stripe.com production. And thanks to Kathleen McKeegan as well for all her research.